we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello and welcome to Firstpost America, your global pit stop for the latest news and headlines from the United States and around the world. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We'll get you a roundup of all the day's top stories, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. The European Union urges Israel to end its military operation in Rafah immediately. The EU says failure to do so will severely strain ties with Israel. Ukraine orders its troops to retreat from several villages in the northeastern Kharkiv region. This after Russia launched a surprise attack on Kharkiv just last week. Dutch nationalist Geert Wilders brokers a coalition to form the most right-wing government in the Netherlands in decades. This latest move comes as Europe sees a rise in hard-right conservative governments. Manila deports 165 Chinese nationals, accusing them of undertaking online scam activities. They've been sent back to Shanghai and permanently banned from returning to the Philippines. And Zimbabwe's government says almost 8 million people are in dire need of food aid. The African nation is suffering from its worst drought in 4 decades. We begin right here in the United States. Just days after halting deliveries of almost 3,500 bombs to Israel, President Joe Biden is now considering a separate weapon shipment to the embattled nation. The Biden administration is planning on sending Israel a new package worth over $1 billion in arms and ammunition. The package is likely to include ammunition for tanks worth $700 million, tactical vehicles costing $500 million, and mortar rounds valued at $60 million. However, the White House has not confirmed the shipment. Now, should the delivery actually take place, this would be the first arms shipment for Israel by the Biden administration after it put an arms transfer on hold just last week. Precision-guided bombs have been held back after Washington expressed its displeasure with Israel's operation in Rafah. Now, President Biden has come under heavy criticism from both sides of the political spectrum over Washington's military support for Israel. While Democrats demand a permanent halt of all weapons deliveries to Israel, the Republicans are accusing the Biden administration of not sending enough weapons. In fact, Republican lawmakers in the House of Representatives are planning to advance a bill this week that would make it mandatory for the Biden administration to deliver offensive weaponry to Israel. However, reports say that President Biden is likely to veto the bill if Congress were in fact to pass it. Now, despite the one-time suspension, the Biden administration has made clear it will continue to support Israel with weapons even as the war drags on with no end in sight. And now moving to West Africa, Niger's Prime Minister Ali Mohamed Lamine Zein has blamed the United States for rupturing the crucial military pact between the two nations. The agreement had allowed American troops to stay and carry out counterterrorism operations in the Sahel country. However, Niger's prime minister says that U.S. officials tried to dictate how the African nation should conduct its affairs. He also claimed that Washington failed to justify the presence of its troops in Niger while, quote, doing nothing to end the jihadist insurgency in the region. Zein said, quote, "The Americans stayed on our soil doing nothing while the terrorists killed people and burned towns. It is not a sign of friendship to come on our soil but let the terrorists attack us. We have seen what the United States will do to defend its allies because we have seen Ukraine and Israel, end quote. Now, last year, a military coup ousted Niger's democratically elected president in a move that prompted the United States to freeze security support to the nation. Washington, in fact, paused its counterterrorism activities against jihadist outfits like the Islamic State and al-Qaeda affiliated groups. These operations were normally carried out using a major air base in Niger, which was at the time completely under American control. In March, Niamey announced the termination of a 12-year-old military pact with Washington, forcing 1,000 U.S. troops to leave the country. Now, Niger's prime minister says that the United States even threatened this country with sanctions if it signed an agreement to sell uranium it produces to Iran. However, the United States State Department said it presented Niger's junta with a choice that was rooted in its national security interests. Washington asked that it decided to withdraw forces from Niger after realizing that the two sides could not come to an understanding. Now, the cancellation of the U.S.-Niger Security Pact has stirred fears of fading American influence in West Africa as Russia makes inroads. In fact, Moscow has already dispatched troops to Niamey, with Niger even housing the incoming Russian soldiers and the outgoing U.S. troops on the same air base, stirring an entirely different controversy. And with Russia increasing its presence in Niger, the options for the United States to revive its relations with the country's ruling junta remain limited. And now shifting focus to Latin America, where there's a growing concern of military escalation. Reports backed by satellite imagery show that Venezuela is carrying out a major troop buildup on the border of Guyana. This comes as Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro scales up threats to annex the oil-rich Essequibo region, which has been part of Guyana for centuries. Venezuela's expansion of military operations has been reported in two areas. The first is on the western border of Guyana on an island called Anacoco, and the second is on a small naval station called Punta Barima, just 40 miles away from Guyana's northernmost point. On the Anacoco Island, Venezuela has expanded the airfield and deployed almost a battalion of several hundred soldiers. Venezuela's operational command has ordered increased activity on the island, which is being undertaken by troops and tanks right on the border with Guyana. And to the north, Caracas has expanded the naval station, which at one time only housed just 2 patrol boats. Additionally, Venezuela has deployed several warships in the region that's now within reach of Guyana's Essequibo. The recent troop buildup has become a major concern for Guyana as tensions rise in Georgetown over the Essequibo region's security. Now, it's estimated that Essequibo has oil equivalent to 11 billion barrels, making Guyana the world's highest oil producer per capita. However, Guyana has a very small army of only about 5,000 troops compared to Maduro's army of 115,000 troops. Now, Guyana remains a key ally of the United States, with some of America's biggest oil firms operating in Essequibo. And amid Venezuela's military buildup, Washington kicked off military drills with Guyana. In fact, over the weekend, 2 F-18 fighter jets of the U.S. Navy flew over Georgetown in a major show of solidarity, a move that has reportedly infuriated Maduro. Now, it may not be in Maduro's best interest to launch a full-scale invasion of Essequibo. However, with elections just 2 months away and Venezuela's opposition being disqualified from contesting, Maduro appears willing to risk it all. And staying in Latin America, El Salvador has mined Bitcoins worth some $29 million since 2021, all thanks to a volcano. Hundreds of processors have been installed at a power plant near the Tecapa Volcano that harnesses the geothermal energy which is used to mine the Bitcoin. With this milestone, El Salvador has set a prime example of mining cryptocurrencies in an environment-friendly way. Our next report explains how El Salvador is now leading the way on mining cryptocurrency.
When it comes to Bitcoin, the Latin American nation of El Salvador appears to be on top of its game. Official data shows that it has mined bitcoins worth some $29 million in the last 3 years, all thanks to a volcano. El Salvador's Bitcoin office reports that it has mined nearly 474 bitcoins since 2021, which means that the government coffers now hold a total of 5,750 bitcoins, which is estimated to be worth over $350 million. This has made El Salvador one of the top countries in pioneering this cryptocurrency. But what's more impressive is how the nation is using a volcano to fill its Bitcoin reserves. El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele, who's a well-known Bitcoin maximalist, has set a prime example of mining the cryptocurrency in an eco-friendly way. His government has installed 300 processors at a state-owned power plant near the Tecapa Volcano that harnesses geothermal energy for Bitcoin mining. And out of the 102 megawatts of electricity produced by the power plant, 1.5 megawatts are solely devoted to cryptocurrency mining. Elsewhere in the world, cryptocurrency miners are often criticized for their electricity sapping operations. Cryptocurrency mining requires large amounts of energy for computing and cooling data processing centers, which raises concerns of weakening power grids and carbon emissions. Now, the passion for cryptocurrency mining is not new to President Bukele. In 2021, Bitcoin became a legal tender in El Salvador alongside the US dollar under his first term. At the time, Bukele also sketched his plans for a Bitcoin city and pushed to improve the economy of Bitcoin Beach, a small beach town that was among the first to adopt Bitcoin as a payment method. However, Bukele received backlash for embracing the volatile cryptocurrency, both from the citizens of his country and the International Monetary Fund. But this didn't stop him from maintaining his stance on the issue and winning his second term earlier this year.
Not only do we support and ratify Bitcoin, but it also enjoys the highest credibility worldwide following the announcement by the US Security and Exchange Commission, which recognized cryptocurrencies as an ETF, that is, as a trading and exchange fund.
Now, as Bukele's government looks to achieve its Bitcoin dream, reports say that most people in El Salvador ignore the virtual currency and instead prefer to transact in US dollars. A survey showed that about 88% of the residents did not use Bitcoin in 2023, and just 1% of remittances were sent in the cryptocurrency. With Salvadorans still not trusting Bitcoin, Bukele now needs a broader strategy to make it work as a successful legal tender.
Our final story is from Hollywood, where a new movement is afoot. Blockout 2024 is shaking up the celebrity world. In this digital rebellion, celebrities from Taylor Swift to Kim Kardashian have lost thousands of followers for not voicing their concerns over the war in Gaza. Our next report tells you why staying silent on the conflict is no longer an option for the rich and famous.
For long, the lives of celebrities were hidden behind glitz and glamour.
Gorgeous, Jen, gorgeous!
Now their real-life actions and opinions are in the spotlight just as much as their on-screen roles. Celebrities need to resonate with their followers on pressing issues. And right now, everyone's talking about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The ongoing war between Israel and Hamas has shattered the lives of innocent people. And celebrities who've stayed silent are feeling the heat on social media. Enter the Blockout 2024 movement. This digital uprising targets celebs who haven't taken a stand on the Israel-Hamas war.
It all kicked off at this year's Met Gala when influencer Hailey Khalil sparked outrage with a video saying, "Let them eat cake."
Let them eat cake.
She likely borrowed it from France's last queen, Marie Antoinette. It symbolizes the callous disregard of 18th century French aristocrats towards the poor.
Hailey Khalil's
Comment highlighted the disconnect between glamorous stars and the dire situation in Gaza, where people face hunger and hardship. Social media users who started the Blockout 2024 movement say it's time for people to conduct a digital guillotine, a digitine. People are saying that the social media platforms gave celebrities their fame, and it's now time to take everything back. This en masse social media block is to compel celebrities to take notice and feel compelled to address the situation in Palestine. Here are celebrities who are under the radar. Popular personality Kim Kardashian has allegedly lost hundreds of thousands of followers. Taylor Swift also reportedly saw a decline of more than 200,000 followers. Social media users say if Swift can rally all of them to vote, then she also has the power to speak up about injustice. Other popular blocking options are Gal Gadot, Harry Styles, Beyoncé, and also Selena Gomez, Zendaya, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Celebrities are hoping to ride out the storm, but given the sensitive nature of the war in Gaza, they might not get their wishes just yet. For example, Susan Sarandon lost her talent agency after speaking at a pro-Palestine rally. Jerry Seinfeld faced a walkout by student protesters while being the guest speaker at a graduation. Melissa Barrera was one of the first to face backlash when she was dropped from Scream 7 for her pro-Palestine posts last year. But is blocking more effective than unfollowing? Experts say yes. Unfollowing might be a gentle nudge, but blocking completely cuts off interaction. It makes social media algorithms hide the celebrity's content. The Blockout 2024 movement shows how fans are demanding more from their idols. They are pushing them to engage with pressing global issues. As fans flex their digital muscles, celebrities are learning that silence isn't always golden.
That's our show for today. We certainly thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.